Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today we're going to interview actress Monique Dupree. She's appeared in movies like American Gangster, starring Denzel Washington, and in Lean on Me, starring Morgan Freeman. She has also been featured in many horror movies as both an actress and a scream queen. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure to click on the notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. I'd like to tell you about a service called HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a great service that allows you to purchase live phone calls from your favorite celebrities, so check them out. It's something you can buy for yourself or as a gift for somebody you care about. So give it a try. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now, let's say hello to Monique Dupree. Hello, Monique. Welcome to the John Ark Show. How are you today?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really good, and we're happy to have you on the show. Monique, a lot of actors simply wait by the phone, hoping for their agent to call. But one of the things we noticed about you was that you're always putting a lot of time and energy into making things happen. You do a lot of social media, you do a lot of personal appearances at various conventions, and you have a way of networking very tenaciously and professionally. Have you always been that way from the start?
Yes, from the very start. I feel like I've had to struggle to kind of get to where I am right now. And I mean, I'm a Sagittarius, so I kind of fight anyway. But I believe in doing everything on my own merit and being able to stand on my own too and say, I did this. So that is why I always try to find, different unique ways to get to where I want to go. Think outside the box, if you will.
Tell us how you got your start, and what was the first film you got a break in?
Well, I was 13 years old when I got what I feel to be my start. My first film. It was Lean on Me with Morgan Freeman, and I got the opportunity because my grandmother, after I begged her, allowed me to audition, and I got a part. And there's this 13-year-old kid getting to work a job. I worked in a hospital before that, but that's a whole other thing. I got a chance to be on film where I'm working from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. As an extra, as a actual worker, and it was just so surreal. I forever thank my grandmother for that opportunity, because if she had said no, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
Now, at 13, your first day on the set, were you a little nervous or were you confident from the get-go?
I wouldn't say confident. I was fascinated. It was a fascinating experience. And, it's okay to be nervous. Nerves are good, but more so than anything else, I know I was just fascinated with the fact that I'm standing here. I'm here with people that are on my television, but they're standing right here in front of me. I'm working on the set. I'm here in action. I'm doing, things over and over and over again. And I just never lost my zest for filming, no matter how long we filmed. I couldn't even eat. And, they had like the lunch breaks or whatever, but I was so nervous. I mean, not nervous. I was so like, what do you call it? Like gung ho, ready to go again. Like I didn't want to sit down. I just wanted to go get back into it again. It was just a very fascinating experience. And that's when I knew that that's what I wanted to do for the rest of my life.
Now, at some point, you're standing on the set and you see Morgan Freeman. At that point, were you starstruck? Were you in awe? Were you impressed? Or did you think that's what I want to do?
I thought that's who I want to be. I pretty much looked at it. I mean, I was still in awe though, because, he's standing right there and I didn't get to actually formally meet him, as we were standing right there and we were getting instructions, and, we waved at him and he waved back at us with a smile, mind you. But I was thinking, I want to be standing there and looking at, young hopefuls like myself and being encouraging just by doing what I do. naturally.
Now, you've done a lot of horror movies, and in fact, you're known as a scream queen. Have you ever asked yourself, what is it about the horror movie genre that appeals to me so much?
Yes, I have asked myself that, and I have some of the answers. I mean, my brother played Candyman, uh, Mr. Tony Todd, but even beyond that, I've always had a love for the horror genre. I later on I've found that I've developed my taste in, like, Quentin Tarantino and Takashi Miike and Robert Rodriguez, which actually they both love Takashi Miike, so it's kind of all, blending in there. But I've had a lot of influences that have taken me to, where my love lies. But I always loved the suspense of things, growing up. Like The Fog was one of my favorite horror movies, but people look at me like, The Fog, like there's so many other scary movies, but I love the suspense of, it was kind of dipped in reality for me. Because as a kid, when I saw Fog, even though that wasn't like the whole premise, when I saw Fog, I'm like, oh no, something's gonna happen to me. Something, it was the realism of it all too that kind of tied me into that. And then I later started developing a love for just the flat out gore for no apparent reason. People's heads popping off and blood shooting out all over the place was just my happy place.
Now, I'm curious, at some point in your life, you met your future husband. You guys decided to go on a date, and he probably wanted to take you to a movie. Was that a horror movie? And if so, do you recall what the name of that movie was? Or have you and your husband ever seen a horror movie together at the theater?
Oh yeah, oh definitely. We saw From Dusk Till Dawn together. Now I can't remember what our first horror film was because uh, we call ourselves, resident weirdos, but we say it in a positive way. So he was just as much of like a kind of a weirdo as I am, and so he loves, film noir, like pulp movies and grindhouse movies and, things of that nature. So he introduced me to a lot of stuff I didn't even know. But one of my favorite horror movies is From Dusk Till Dawn. And we got to see that together. And I loved it because it wasn't a horror movie when you first started watching. It just, like this, with a snap of a finger, went from a regular, like, movie that had mass murderers in it to an all-out horror film with vampires and all of this other stuff. And it's like, whoa, you didn't even see that happen. You didn't even see the turn. And those are the kind of things that I enjoy. We love From Dusk Till Dawn together. That's like one of our favorite horror movies together.
By the way, that movie was on cable recently, and it still holds up really well. It's
It
fantastic.
really does, doesn't it? It really is a great piece of work. And just to watch it, we'll watch it over and over sometimes. Our two favorite movies to watch over and over are True Romance and From Dusk Till Dawn. Uh, just,
I love the music in True Romance. It's fantastic.
it is. It
So,
is. I do.
so horror movies usually fall into one of two categories. They're usually really good or they're a little corny. And oftentimes it's hard to tell when you're making them which one it's going to turn out as. Have you ever done a horror movie that you thought may have been sort of average while you were making it? And then when it was finished, you were surprised by how really good it was?
Yes. I definitely have one of those films. And I say I have one of those films because it's hard for me to like think through my entire catalog of what I've done right now. But this particular film sticks out because I knew that he was a new director, but he had such great potential. He still does. Um, and, we were filming and I was just kind of like, I don't know, the way in which he did some things. But once it was done, and I got to see it, I was impressed. And, it was in black and white. And of course, you're filming, you don't know what's going to happen. And it was just like kind of grindhouse and and horror, and it just had all of these great elements in it that I enjoyed. And I was like, who knew it would it would turn out to be this awesome?
So a number of movie producers I know were out with camera crews during the riots and the looting over the last year, hoping to get footage that they could later incorporate into a future project. Did any of the directors do any of that?
Not that I'm aware of. I try to steer clear of all of that. Just try to kind of like keep myself and my family away from that. But if there were any, they didn't talk to me about it, or anything of that nature. I do know that my husband, not the riots or whatever, but like during some of the protests that happened in New York, we went to the apartment and he captured like photos of
Mm.
protests and stuff like that. That's one of his little things that he loves to do, is to take photos of various protests and people in different stages of it. He captures great shots of it.
Now, you are a Sagittarius, and Sagittarians are famous for loving literature and language. With that in mind, have you ever thought about writing your own horror movie script?
Yes, I actually have, and it was because of my husband that I even entertained the possibility, because I felt like I wasn't the writer in the family. Now I write poetry. I have like uh, tons of notebooks, because I don't like to write stuff on the computer. I like the old school. I was a typewriter girl. I was either a typewriter or writing stuff by hand. So when the typewriter kind of went the way of the dodo, I just had the notebook. And he was just like, because he has a whole bunch of scripts, but he said, you should really take some of your ideas and put it on paper to see it come to life. And, I can help you do that, because he knows how to format everything. He knows how to put it all together. I know nothing about any of that. I just know how to write something. And so we're trying to put that together. But he's working on a short for me, where he's going to write that short first. And then the second thing that we do will probably incorporate my writing as well.
Nice. So it looks like comic conventions are starting to come back and reactivate this year. Are you going to resume your appearances at some of the conventions this year?
I absolutely will. I cannot wait. Thanks to my brother, I got to already attend a couple of conventions, which was it was pretty strange, because it was in that weird mark. Everybody's still wearing a mask, but
Mhm.
everybody's so happy to be back. But those were horror conventions. I'm most looking forward to like the sci-fi kind of comic book conventions, because those are the ones where I normally dress up in cosplay, and that's why people come to my line. And then once they come to my line and they see, what I have to offer, what I do, and I have my photos and my DVDs and stuff, it's a way to connect with the fans, as well as a way to get them over to me, and then they see what I have, and they end up purchasing something. And sometimes I even get new fans. Especially, I always get the kids, because if I dress as Wonder Woman, or something really cool like that, and then I'm interacting with the kids, and the parents see the time that I'm actually taking, instead of trying to like kind of push them to the side, it really helps, and it helps me connect with people to kind of break that barrier by dressing up. So I cannot.
So you're also involved with the wrestling world. Can you tell us how that came about?
Yes, that came about because Mr. One, Tommy Dreamer, uh, believed in me enough to, when he opened his promotion, House of Hardcore, that he hired me basically to be his right hand person. Tommy Dreamer is best known for his run in ECW, called the Innovator of Violence. And then he went on to WWE and Impact Wrestling, like he is right now. That's who I'm here with. And then he started his own promotion. But I also got the opportunity to work behind the scenes, doing almost every job that you can imagine that one would do, working behind the scenes.
So, speaking of wrestling, years ago, as a producer, I was working on a project and we were talking to Hulk Hogan. And my first conversation with him on the phone, I couldn't believe how sane, how normal, how polite, how country and just likable he was. I was expecting the complete opposite. So, that was a nice surprise. But
Yeah, people oftentimes do feel that way, like they expect the larger than life personas because that's what you see all the time, right? So you expect, like, when you go speak to them, when they're the opposite, it's just kind of like, wait, are you the same person? Type of deal. But that's pretty funny because I hear that a lot.
so what do you enjoy more, the world of horror movies or the wrestling business?
I would really definitely have to say wrestling right now, even though I haven't been able to be a part of it as much. And I think it's mainly because of the joy that I get in all of the production, all of the backstage stuff. I would literally work in the box office, taking people's tickets, paying, having people pay, stamping them. And then I move out of the box office and I'm taking photos of the crowd. But at the very end, when I see, all of the smiling faces, everybody's cheering and everybody's having such a great time, I'm like, I helped do that. And I get that personal satisfaction, even though nobody knows, people don't know who it is working behind the scenes most of the time. It's the people in front that they are. But I still get a personal satisfaction from, all that I get to contribute and learn at the same time. It's always a learning process, and I love to learn.
So you have a large family, lots of children, and I suspect at some point in their lives, they were sitting in front of the TV or a streaming app, and they saw a movie with their mother in it, a horror movie with their mother in it. How do they react when they see mom in a scary movie?
They were ecstatic because my older kids got to be on set with me sometimes during some of these films. So I took a couple of pictures. One of my daughters, she's an adult now, but she was asleep right next to like a pool of fake blood and guts. And she like laid over to the side and she just literally fell asleep. It was nothing for her. It's because she grew up coming to set with me. And some of my children have actually been in movies, but they love seeing me in anything. They don't care what genre it is. And they love seeing their Uncle Tony. So you always hear them scream, "Mom's on TV." Or like I used to have films on Netflix and they would go on Netflix, but now I have films on Amazon and they're big YouTube people. So I have a lot of TV series on YouTube. So they just love all of it. And sometimes they want nights where they sit down and do a movie night watching mom with popcorn, which is kind of weird to sit there and watch them react, but it's also so great. They're my number one support system. My kids.
So I see that you are routinely putting out a lot of social media content. Can you tell us how often you put out the content?
It depends on what platform I'm working on, but I put stuff out pretty much daily on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. Instagram is definitely one of my main places to connect with people and talk to people and like personal messages as well when I can, because I can't always get to everybody, but I try my best.
So I understand that your husband is an author named Anthony St. Thomas. How can people find him online?
Well, you should definitely go to Amazon to look up his books. He's a published author. He has two books, one called 666 North Avenue. The other one is called Tripping on Wisconsin. He also has poetry books and visual poetry books. One named A Series of Left Hand Turns, and the other one has a picture of my silhouette on the cover.
So, and if your fans wanted to see you on Netflix or elsewhere online, what movie are you proudest of? What movie would you tell them to see now?
Well, on Amazon, that's different because I love the movie that I was in called Bachelor Party in the Bungalow of the Damned. That is a heck of a name. But you can only, I believe you can buy that on Amazon, but it's not streaming. There is quite a few films streaming on Amazon that I love. But if you go on Amazon and just look up my name, you'll see like a lot of movies. I would love to know other people's favorite uh, movies and things that I've been in, as opposed to what my favorites are. I like to know what other people think.
Well, before we wrap things up, is there anything else you would like to promote?
I wanted to just take a moment to tell people that I know with COVID and with everything that's happened, that the level of depression has gotten even higher. The level of suicide rates has gotten even higher, even amongst our young people, unfortunately. And I just want everybody to know that, there's always somebody that you can reach out to, even in addition to the hotlines. If you wanted to reach out to me, I know you don't know me, I don't know you, but if you just needed a virtual ear, so to speak, I try my best to be there all the time. I know what it's like to feel alone. I know what it's like to feel really down. I suffer from depression, and I just don't want anybody to feel like I ever felt before. I know that I have a support system now, and if I can be somebody else's support system and pay it forward, that's just what I'm trying to do. Just know that you're never alone. That's really what I like to convey to people.
Well, Monique, it's been a real pleasure having you on the John Ark Show. I want to wish you continued success and tell you that you're always welcome back on the show.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Oh, the pleasure's been all ours. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed that as much as we did. Thanks again for watching. And I want to tell you that we're going to have more great celebrity interviews and more breaking news stories coming up in the future. So we want to encourage you to subscribe to our free channel and click on that notification bell so you can get notified every time we post a new story. Thank you, and we shall see you soon.